So what we'll be doing is like we have to go to the configuration workbooks, guys. You can see here, I got two configuration workbooks. One is with respect to your corporate data model. Yeah, it's already there, guys. Okay, good. These are your, okay. So before we start with these things, guys, as I told you, like I explained how to understand your XML file, right? So in addition to that, what I will be doing is like before I start with working on these data models, I'll tell you a couple of other things which are very important to start with configuration, with this configuration, guys, especially. So if you open your data models, so we have seen, we try to understand this thing, right? So at a high level, you have your HRIS element, nothing but your object, and inside the object, it has couple of fields. You can see here HRIS field, and these are the different technical properties of your field. So if you see here, right, the visibility. So the visibility can carry three different options, guys. It can be none. I mean to say here, it can carry a value of none, or view, or both. None is nothing but the field is going to be hidden, guys. Completely the field is hidden, and you cannot import data for this file, for this particular field, via CSV files also, which means that as though you don't have any field in the data model, it is nothing but you have to define none to the visibility attribute, guys. And the other possible value for visibility is view, which is nothing but read only. You are defining that particular field as read only field. Okay, and both is nothing but you are defining the field as visible to the users, and at the same time they can edit the data, they can upload the data into this file or into that particular field from CSV files as well. So these are the three possible values that the visibility attribute can carry, guys. It's very important, guys. And your PII is only true attribute, like one either true or false. And your mandatory required field is again like true or false. And you can see here, this is nothing but a label, guys. The label that you want to show on the screen in your instance is what you are going to keep here. Okay, and these are all the same things, guys. And before we start with these configuration workbooks, you can see these are the different objects, right? Legal entity, business unit, division, location, job classification, all these things are different objects. Especially these are the foundation objects. So what are the different types of objects that we are going to see, are the different types of objects available in your Employee Central module is, you have 4 different types of objects which are called like a data objects as well, guys, in your data models. And they are your foundation objects, generic objects, person objects, and employment objects. These are at a high level, you have these 4 different objects that you see across your Employee Central module, guys. Let me talk about these things, then we'll go ahead and start the configuration. So you have your foundation objects, you have your generic objects and employment object, and then your personal object, personal or person object, guys. So why this classification is required, and what we are going to achieve with this thing is that you have complete segregation. See, the moment you are talking about foundation objects are the building blocks for your organization data, guys. Let me repeat that, guys. Foundation objects is going to define or build your company data, company or enterprise or your organization data. Whereas your generic objects is going to be like, it is not going to be like anything things specific to your organization or to the employee, but they are going to have more kind of like what do you call settings or configuration things that are going to be captured in the generic objects. See, if you are talking about vacation or position information, so that kind of information which is not specific to the employee, at the same time it is not specific to the organization, but they are like more of a kind of configuration that you want to store in the system, and where you are going to capture those information is in the generic objects, guys. Person and employment objects are more related to the employee, and employment object especially is more towards the employee data, but it is going to be relevant to carry out his job. Basically his job information or his what do you call pay details, his compensation details, those kind of things which are relevant or which are like the hours, the employee hours, the working hours of the employee, those kind of things which are closely tied to the employee, but at the same time they are relevant to accomplish his job or the duties in the organization, is going to be placed under the employment objects, guys. Person object is completely going to be personal details of the employee, like his personal, his first name, last name, his personal address, his dependent details. All those things are going to be categorized under personal objects. Okay, and the couple of examples with respect to your foundation. Let me give a couple of examples. Then you can see here. See your organization structures and your job structures, legal entity, nothing but your company, your business unit, pay structures, all these things going to fall under your foundation objects, guys. And your generic objects includes your position information, vacation, and your employment object includes compensation data of employee, hire data of employee, any job related information, guys, of the employee is going to be categorized under employment objects. Your personal object is more like personal address, dependents, and personal email ID, phone number. All these things are going to be categorized under the personal object, guys. So that is how you are going to see these different objects. Now is it clear, guys? You can clearly segregate the data in your employee central into these 4 different kinds of objects, guys. Apart from these 4 different kind of objects, you don't have any other objects in your employee central module, guys. So if you talk, if you want to segregate these things, like you can see here, your foundation objects, as the foundation object is nothing but more relevant to towards the company or organization, right? You see all these foundation objects are going to be available in your corporate data model. And your generic objects, they doesn't belong to any data model as such. You can configure the objects from your instance itself, guys. Your employment objects is going to be more towards succession data model, because succession data model is the one which is going to be relevant to the employee, right? And part of that is going to be again in your corporate data model, because your job related information, the job function or the job information, job classification, everything is going to be built using the foundation objects. I mean, say built using the corporate data model, and the data that you are going to try to capture in that is like more of the employee. So the employment objects is going to be built using your succession as well as your corporate data model, whereas your person objects is more towards your succession data model, guys. So where you are going to place these objects is, this is how you are going to segregate. One couple of those things belongs to corporate data model, couple of those things belongs to your succession data model, guys. And your time management is going to be again your generic objects, guys. So anything which you don't see here is going to be, you can build using the generic objects, guys. Say if you want to build a custom object, yes, the custom object can be built in your employee central module, but it should be built using the generic objects concept.
Your metadata framework is completely built on your generic objects concepts, guys. We'll see one by one slowly. Try to understand these objects, guys. Once you are clear with that, right, I'll show you like how to closely do your configuration with respect to these objects, correlating these objects with your data models as well, guys. Let me enlarge this.
Raghu, can you please go over visibility one more time? I just want to understand that again in your XML pad.
Yes, 1 second, motion.
Thank you.
Okay, visibility, right? So the possible values for visibility is none, both, or it is going to be only visible. So you can only read only them, or you want to make that particular field as completely hidden from your data models or across your organization, or you want to make them as view only, which means like a read only, or you want to make them as both, which means that you can edit the field at the same time you can read that particular field, which means that it is visible to you. None, view, and the other one is the both. Those are the three possible values for visibility attribute motion. And it's very important, guys. And your configuration workbooks are nothing but your, say if a client is giving requirements, yes, you are going to note down all the requirements, but how you are going to convert those requirements into configuration is like in between you have to prepare configuration workbooks, guys. The configuration workbooks, the moment you prepare configuration workbooks, you have to make sure that all the requirements provided by the customer has been captured in that, and the configuration workbooks is the reference for you to go ahead and do the configuration in the system. And you will go through, you will sit along with the customer to make sure that you captured everything in your configuration workbook. Okay, and you can see here, guys, this configuration workbook which has been captured with respect to the requirements provided by a customer. And how you are going to read this configuration workbook is, let me tell you, you can see here there are a couple of sheets, right? You see here, these are the different sheets, and these sheets will give you the object details. So whatever the objects that customer feels to be configured as per their own requirements, which means that they have their own custom requirements. They don't want to go with the standard SuccessFactors provided objects or data models, guys. So whenever any customer has some deviations with respect to the standard things provided by SuccessFactors, you have to identify their requirement is going to fall under which particular object. So say my customer tells that he needs a couple of additional fields in the company. So the company is going to be one of the foundation object, guys. Yes, the company belongs to your corporate data model. It is foundation object, and my customer is asking some changes in the legal entity or the company. So I have to capture all those requirements, and how I am going to capture those requirements, or how I am going to prepare a configuration workbook based on those requirements is, you can see here, for your legal entity, you have to keep a worksheet here. You see here, this is a sheet, and for the legal entity, what are the changes that my customer is asking, which are deviating from the standard SuccessFactors provided things. So here you can see here, if you look at the row 5, and before that, look at this thing, guys. Yes, the legal entity is the object, and in the legal entity, you can see here, the legal entity is the name of the object. If you correlate this with your data model, you can see this is your data model, guys, and you see here the first object name is legal entity. Your HRIS element name is legal entity. But my customer, where do you find that in the SuccessFactors instances? Let me show you that, guys.
Raghu, can you please increase the font size?
Yeah, sure, motion. It was already, yeah.
Thank you.
Is that fine now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Let me log into the system, guys. I'll go a little bit slow, guys, here because we are doing the first object, right? Try to understand these things, guys. See, if my client wants to, or I want to build a new company code in my organization, the way how I can build it is like, you can see here under the administration tools, you can go to the tool search, and here you can see manage organization pay structure, and this is the option, guys. Manage organization pay and job structure is the option. You can find the option using the tool search, or you can go to the employee central. Let me show you where you will be able to find that. Go to your employee files. Under your administration tools, go to this employee files. You can see manage organization pay and job structure. This is the option where you can find all the different entities of your foundation objects, whether it is a legal entity, your business unit, location, all these things you can see here. See, this is the legal entity. This is one of the foundation object that we are talking about currently with respect to the requirement or with respect to the configuration workbooks. You can see here, this is the standard success factors provided. Say, if you want to create a new company, you have to provide the effective date, you have to provide the legal entity ID and legal entity name and the status and default group and the country, standard weekly hours, currency, these things. Say my customer is asking few more additional fields here, or he wants to change some mandatory fields. Say if you want to keep his description as mandatory, or say he wants to make this currency as optional. So those kind of requirements, you see here, these requirements, whatever I just spoke to you, couple of additional fields, couple of property changes, which are deviating from the standard SAP success factors provided things, is going to be captured in your configuration workbook, and you have to start configuring the system as per the requirements provided by the customer. And how you can understand these things, let's say if you prepare this configuration workbook, you can see here, you are talking about, let's say, you can see here the legal entity, this is the object name, but my customer wants to go with wheel name. He don't want to call that particular company as legal entity, he wants to call that as wheel. So the object name itself, he is interested in calling it as wheel across his organization. So the object name is supposed to be changed here, right? That is the reason you can see here all the changes which are supposed to be done, they have been captured in yellow color or orange color. You can see here whatever it may be, yellow, it is mostly yellow, guys. All these things is going to be are captured in yellow color, guys. And where I am going to change the object name is, yes, your legal entity belongs to foundation objects, and your foundation objects are going to be built in your corporate data model, right? So in order to do this change, you have to look back at your corporate data model, guys. You can see here, this is your object, HRIS element company, and this is the name of the object, guys, legal entity. Right now you can see, this is the standard SAP success factors provided the object name, and my customer is insisting go with wheel. And you can see the standard, we loaded the standard success factors provided data models 2 days back or 1 day back, right? That is the reason you can see whatever you are seeing on the screen is the standard SAP success factor provided things, guys. That is the reason you can see the legal entity. But my customer wants these things to be displayed as wheel, and wherever you go, you can see here the legal entity, it should not be legal entity. He interested in seeing that as a wheel. He interested in calling the company as a wheel. So across the organization, I want to rename the object as wheel rather than as legal entity. So my first requirement is like change the object name from legal entity to wheel. You can see here, this is the object name, and I'm going to change it to wheel.
Raghu?
Yes.
There is one option in which we can change all the nomenclature, like employee if we want to call partner.
That is a text replacement. That is the text replacement.
So we can do that way also, right?
No. That is not going to work. You can see here. Let me show you what is the difference between these things and that. 1 second, guys.
Okay.
You don't have flexibility of changing all the fields in your text replacement option.
Okay.
Rashmi, right?
Yeah.
Rashmi, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see here.
Yeah, see here, yeah.
Yeah, This is the place you can see here. You don't have option. Here is your
For
legal entity.
legal.
You don't have legal entity, right? See here, and you don't
Yeah.
have any of the fields under your legal entity. Say I have a field, HRIS field called as a legal entity ID, right? You don't even find that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the reason you always have to depend on your data model to change these things, guys. The properties.
Okay.
So on anything with respect to data models, the data model is the only place, or the BCUI, business configuration UI is the only place, or these are the places you can go ahead and change their properties or change the labels, add a couple of additional fields, custom fields, whatnot, all those things you can do it using these two options, guys. So this is my first requirement, guys, where I want to change the object name. Rather than calling as legal entity, I am going to name, my customer is interested to go with the wheel. So if that is my very first requirement, you can see, yes, there is a change in legal entity. That is the reason the legal entity object is provided in this configuration workbook. And yes, what are the changes? You can identify the changes using this yellow color, guys. So things that has been highlighted in yellow color, there is a change with respect to that. What is that change? So this is the original one, or the standard success factor provided name, and my customer is insisting to go to wheel, and we change the object name to wheel. And if you go to the next requirement, you can see here, there is a change here. You can see here, external code. This is the technical field ID, guys. So you can see, if you copy this external code and if you go to your data model, and you can see here, HRIS field. I told you, right, the ID is nothing but your technical field ID, which we are not supposed to change at all. So this is the reference to the system to refer to that particular field in the database. Okay, never change that particular thing. Thing doesn't work if you change that particular ID, guys. Okay, so with respect to the external code of your legal entity object, the standard success factors provided a label of legal entity ID, the type is string, all those things, these are no changes, guys. But the customer label, the customer is insisting, yes, I want to go with a name of wheel ID. Rather than calling the success factor provided label as legal entity ID, I want to call that as wheel ID. Across my organization, this should be called as wheel ID. And you can see the required is not thing this. You can see here, yes, with respect to this field, there is a change requested by customer. And that is the reason you can see yes. And you can also go with all those things. You see, there are no changes for a couple of those things. You can see here, there are no changes here. And so if you want to identify these things, right, you go with these changes or go by the things which has been highlighted in your yellow color. Okay. And this is the requirement. If you talk about this requirement, external code field, the standard success factor provided label is legal entity ID, and my customer is insisting to go with wheel ID. Okay. So where I'm going to change it, like I'm going to go to this particular field. This field is inside your legal entity object, guys. You can see here your company is starting here, which is your legal entity, and inside that you have a field, HRIS field called as external code, and the properties keep it aside, guys. You can see here the label that my customer is insisting is wheel ID. And just make sure, guys, whether it is a required field or not. You can see required is true. Yes, that's fine, because that is the reason it's already required. My customer is not asking to change it. Only the label, you can see here the label is highlighted. Yes, the label is the one that he is interested to change it to wheel ID. We did that. Okay. And you can see here the next thing, if you go to the name, if you go to the next HRIS field called as name, let me go there, guys. You can see here, this is the name. You have to always look back at your technical field ID, guys. Okay. And my customer is asking to wheel name, to rename that to wheel name. Okay. And here you can see where you are going to change it. This is the place where you are going to change the label, wheel name. Let me load these things into the system and let me show you guys how, what are the changes that they requested. Then we'll go ahead with the rest of all those changes. So I saved this data model, guys, which is B1502 corporate data model. And let me close this thing.
Raghu,
Yep.
there are different language options below. So
Yep.
if we are just changing it the label up, how these language options are getting impacted?
No, see, It all depends on, like, again, which language that you are interested to change. Say right now I am changing to the default language, which is English. Say if you are doing business in some other country as well, say if you are doing in Germany, and say you have to change this label appropriately. I don't know what it is, but you have to change this label based on the language code, right? You have to change this label. You can see here
Okay.
each field
So
is
you
going to have the label in different language. Each language is going to have its own label. One second, let me open this, guys.
okay, so you just updated it like in the top line,
Yeah.
but we are using English GB and English US as well. You
Yeah.
don't need to update it there to get reflected.
No, English US is the default language. I don't know. Is it Kavita?
Yes, Raghu.
Yeah. So English is the default language, right? You can see that is the reason we are keeping it as wheel ID, and we don't want to go with.
No. What I am highlighting is there is English GB as well, and then English US. So we don't need to update it there again. What if we update it just in the top line? That is enough, is it?
Yes.
Okay. And if we want it to be reflected a different text in some other language as well, we'll have to update it in any of the below line, whichever language we are
Exactly.
using.
So if you want to have a different label in different language, these are the languages, and this is the place where you have to go ahead, and you can see here Saudi Arabic, or I'm not sure, guys. You can see here this is totally different. So if someone is going to log in using that language, right, or that is their preference in their options, yes, this is what they are going to see. And based on the requirement of the customer provided, right, you have to change this label appropriately, guys. And you can see each field is going to have all these different language labels options. Okay?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Let me close these things and let me load this into the provisioning system, guys. So go to your provisioning system homepage and go to the section called by name as section management. You can see here, this is the place. And if you go here, this is your import export data model. Is nothing but import export section data model and import export country specific section data model. And this is the place you can see the corporate data model. As we just worked on the corporate data model, and this is the place where we have to upload the data model into the system, guys. Go ahead and choose the file. Under this is the one, guys. You can see B1502 corporate data model, and just now we changed it. Go ahead and submit it, guys. Okay. And how you can verify that is, like, if you go to your instance, just log off and log in again, guys, into your instance after loading your data model. Just log off and log in into your instance, then you'll be able to see the changes in your instance, guys. Go to your administration tools, and if you go to employee files, go to the manage organization job and pay structures, pay and job structures, sorry. And now you can see here there is no legal entity. If you see, guys, across your organization you don't see legal entity, it is all wheel. So the customer is interested for that, you can see here wheel. And if you remember, the first requirement is changing the name of the object itself. So there is no legal entity, now it is called as a wheel. And the second requirement is within the legal entity object, the wheel ID. Rather than calling it as legal entity ID, you can see here, this is the place where it was legal entity ID. My customer wants to change it to wheel ID. Yes, we did that, and you can see now you are seeing the wheel ID. And the next thing is like it is legal entity name. Earlier it was legal entity name here, and we changed it to wheel name. And you can see now you are seeing the wheel name. So those are the changes that the customer insisted, and we did that, guys. And if you talk about the rest of the configuration, if you go one by one, you can see here. Let me talk about default pay group. Under your legal entity object itself, the default pay group, if you go to the default pay group, let me go to the data model, guys. I have to open the data model. Let me open the data model. Where is it? Yeah, here you can see this is the data default pay group, guys. So with again, this is under your, if you scroll up, this is again under your object called as a legal entity. If you have to scroll, you have to scroll up and up, guys. So you can see here, this is under the wheel object. I mean to say this is under the object company, your legal entity object only. So if you go here, let me read the requirements. What are those requirements, guys? So you see here, they don't want to use this particular field at all. Okay, see right now, let me show you. You see here, the visibility is both, and where is your, you see here, the default pay group is here available, but my customer or my client is asking, don't show this default pay group, or don't even show this particular field on the screen when you are trying to create a new company in your organization. So that is what he has mentioned here, guys. You can see here, it is not at all required. They are not going to use it. Okay. So I have to go ahead and make sure that it is not going to be visible on the screen. So in order to make a field as not visible or should be hidden from the screen, what is the attribute that we are supposed to change, guys? You can see here, this is the field. These are the technical attributes that are associated to the field currently, and it is visible on the screen. My customer is telling that don't show that particular field on the screen. So what attribute that we are supposed to change here, guys?
Instead of both, and enter none.
Yeah. Visibility to none.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, guys. So you have to set the visibility to none. Then your field is completely hidden from the screen, guys. You cannot load the data, and the field is also not going to be visible on the screen. So that is the next requirement. Also, you can see default location, the same thing again. The default location also they don't want to show on the screen. Let me go here, and you can see here, let me change it to none. Okay. And after that, you can see here your standard hours. You can see here they want to go with as an optional thing, standard hours. If you read this requirement, right, under the column row 14, standard hours is the technical field, and the label is the standard weekly hours. It's a decimal data type. Everything is fine, but they are making the required attribute to no, which means that they don't want to make it as a mandatory field while creating your legal entity or your company. So if you go to the data model, what the technical field name, standard hours. You can see here, right now it is set as true, which means that it's a mandatory field. You see here, standard weekly hours is a mandatory field. I cannot create a new company without updating the data in the standard weekly hours. Let's say if I want to create a new company called as like AS_ India _ training. And the status is going to say it is active, and country is going to be like say India. And let me try to close INR. Let me save this thing without populating. You can see standard weekly hours is a required field. So if you go ahead and capture 40 hours, yes, then it will allow you to save the or create a new company here. But my customer says that no, I don't want to give the standard weekly hours when we are going to create a new company in our organization. Yes, that is what the requirement that they mention here in this particular row. They don't want to they don't want to go with the standard weekly hours as a required or a mandatory field. They want to make it as an optional field. So go here. This is the standard weekly hours, and the attribute, the technical attribute that carries the property of whether a field is mandatory or not is going to be your required attribute, guys. So right now you can see it is set as true, which means that it's a mandatory field. I want to go with a optional field. I'm turning it to false. So let me finish this and let me load this thing into system, and then I'll move on to the other things, guys. Give me a second. It is taking some time to save to my desktop.
Raghu, how do you compile that Excel template itself? Like, let's say legal entity, you have 10 fields. Is there any, we can download that? Okay, these 15 fields are associated to legal entity, something like that?
No. Well, let me show you how you can do that. You cannot download them into a separate thing, or you can segregate them. But how you can do is, like, say, if you go here, unfortunately this is not working, guys. So the table view, right? This will give you very clear information, guys. You don't need to look at your tags. Give me a second, guys. 1 second. If you open this data model in XML pad on your machines, you see there is this option called as table view. And Ray, you remember, right, when we were working on the section data model?
I think the very first portion will be in a
spreadsheet
format, a table form. So
table view, yes. Exactly. You see all the fields, their properties in a table view. That is pretty simple to work on.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Somehow this is not working, Ray, in my machine. Yeah. So, or otherwise you can see here, this is the easy navigation. So the very first column you can see, if you want to see what is this HRIS element, you just click on these things. You can see here, when I select this HRIS element, you can see here the name is wheel, which means that it is the object related to your company. And if you want to see what is there inside this thing, click on this plus symbol, and you see all these things are the different things available under your HRIS element. These are the different HRIS fields under your HRIS element, legal entity, or your company. You see here all these fields. It's easy navigation. It's one other way to navigate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming I might be wrong too. So the legal entity, when you create it, so in moving forward, when you're hiring an employee or someone, if the add employee belongs to that particular entity, and if you have given a standard hours of 40 hours, I'm assuming that will be defaulted or whatever it is over there.
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah. So what if a company same company has a multiple locations, each location has a different working hours?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about your company. Under that, you can create different business unit, and if you want to relate this business unit to your particular company, you call, if you remember, I told you just about associations, your relationships. You have to build a relationship between your company, business units, and you have to build a relationship between your business unit and the job information of the employee.
So in the business unit also has a standard hours?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Location or business unit, they have standard hours. So by default, SuccessFactors provide the standard hours in location. I as far as I remember, it is in location, guys. But let me check in business unit as well, and then you can build an association between, or if you want, you can build a custom field also, guys. And with respect to these data models, you have a lot of custom fields, guys. It is not limitation of 15 fields. You have a lot of, there are around 20 date type fields, there are 20 string type fields, there are 20 decimal. So you have like around 160 or 180 custom fields for each object. And where you can find that is, you can see here, if you go down, You can see here custom data field 5. And you can see the custom number field, which is of long type. And you can see here custom double type 15. There are around like 160 or 180 custom fields available with each object, guys. Each object, not throughout your entire data model. So your entire data model got like around, I don't know, like around 1800 or 2000 custom fields, guys. So you have more than sufficient custom fields available in your employee central corporate data model or your section data models, guys. Just for your information, guys, because we have limitation on the section in the talent management suite, right, where we have only 15 custom fields available to us, and we have to restrict all our requirements inside that. Here we don't have such kind of limitations, guys. So we did the next two requirements, right? One is these two things we did. So let me go ahead and load that into the provisioning system, and we'll verify that quickly. This is your data model and your 1502 corporate data model. Click on submit. Okay. Go to the instance, guys. And for a couple of people, I created the access and send their emails, guys. For rest of those things, I'm still creating their user credentials into the system, but I'll be sending out, guys. Very soon I will be sending out. For
Raghu, I'm not able to log in with that credential.
Oh, who is this?
Yeah, Rashmi here.
Yeah, okay. If you don't mind, can you drop an email, Rashmi?
Yeah, I already sent.
Okay, cool. I'll work on that, Rashmi. Okay, so we did changes to the legal entity, right? Let's go to the manage organization pay and job structures option, and we are working on the legal entity object. Go to legal entity, that is nothing but wheel. You see here, your standard weekly hours is no more a mandatory field. It's an optional field, and at the same time, they don't want to use the default location. You see, you don't see a leave default location now. So that is how you are going to configure your requirements, guys. Okay, and say if my customer says that I want to add here, they didn't request it for custom fields, guys. Let me see, is there any other object where they requested custom fields to be added? Yeah, here you can see there is a requirement on your division object. They want to go with the custom string 1 field as aggregate function. Okay, you can see here, this is what they are requesting, aggregate function. And you can see this is on the custom string 1 field. So how you are going to address this thing is like, again, you have to go to your data model. So now the object we are working is, you can see here, division is the object, guys. So inside the division object, one of the requirement is, yes, I am not doing these things, guys, because I already did, or I already showed you how to do the, or how to accomplish such kind of requirements. But here you can see here, it's a custom field requirement, which is different from the things that we handled so far, right? You have to go to your division object, and you can see here, a division, my customer wants to call it as a spoke, and inside that, he wants to use a custom field called as custom string 1 field as aggregate function. Let me go to division. What is? Okay. Just give F3, guys. It will keep on move. You don't need to worry about that. Just give F3. It will keep on move to the next matching mode, guys. You see here, this is the starting of your object division. And here in this particular thing, he wants to call it as a spoke, one of those requirements. Let me do it quickly. This is the name of the object, spoke. Yes, I did that. And if you see here, guys, I am in HRIS element division. And if you see left hand side, right now, this is just highlighted here. You can see this is the HRIS element. If you just click on that, you see all the different labels and the fields inside that particular object division is available to you. It is a quick way of navigation rather than scrolling down, right? You can just quickly navigate using these left-hand side options as well. Let's say I want to go to, my intention is I have to find out where is this custom 01 field inside your division object. So you can see here, when I selected this thing, I came here to the custom string 8. So if I go a little bit up, or if I select here, I can go a little bit up very fast here. You can see here, this is the custom string 1. You can see here. So you'll slowly get used to it, guys. But these are the simple ways how you can navigate or how you can easily find out the place where you are supposed to change. Here, the custom 01, the custom string 1, they want to change it to aggregate function. So go to this and aggregate function, and if you remember, guys, you can see by default your custom fields visibility is set to none, which means that they are not showing on your screens. But my customer wants to use that. So and the thing that they're selling, yes, use it, and it's not required, and yes, it is going to be editable. Okay, if it is a editable, yes, go ahead and make it as both, and make sure that it's not required false. Yeah, everything is fine, guys. The rest of those things are set to false. Everything is fine. You can see the label is agree. What's the label? Sorry, guys. Aggregate function. Okay. And those are the things, guys. One thing is, like, just remember this is visibility, guys. Whenever you are working on the custom fields, by default their visibility is set to none, and it is one of the important questions, guys, for your certification. What is the visibility whether of your custom fields in your data models? It is not going to be visible to it is not going to be visible across your instance. The technical attribute visibility is set to none. Let me load this thing into the system, guys.
Raghu, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay. Raghu, so customer knows all these fields and objects?
No. Customer doesn't know. He will. You have to explain them that yes, this has been segregated into different objects, and so what are your information? What kind of information that you want to capture whenever you are going to create a company in your organization? That is the question that you have to ask them. Yes, then customer will tell that this is my current system and this is the data that I am capturing in my legacy system as of today. And then try to map those fields to your data models and tell them that yes, this is what we have in your data models. Are you fine with these things? Or okay, do you want to enhance, or you don't want to go with the as-is process, you want to enhance your process and you want to go with a couple of additional fields? Yes, SuccessFactors is capable of doing that. And what are your additional fields that you want to capture when you are creating a company in your organization? What are the technical attributes? How the system should behave when you are trying to create a company? Those kind of things you have to capture from the customer, Tasneem.
Okay, Raghu, yeah, there's the thing I would like to ask you. Like, how do we know, because like we are new, so how do we know that if the customer needs the aggregate function, so where we will find this object and this thing?
No, you have these data models with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the data model will give you, yes, these are the different fields available to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can ask that, yes, sir, do you have any custom field? See, this is what standard SuccessFactors. Provide the screen, show this information. Yes, this is what standard SuccessFactors provided to you. But yes, behind the scenes, we can bring some more couple of fields here. We can change the technical attributes of these fields. Yes, how you want to capture your company in your organization. So that will answer your question. And you don't need to reveal all the technical attributes of the data model, but ask them what are the additional fields that you want to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So I loaded the data model. I'm not sure whether I loaded, guys.
Raghu, just a quick clarification.
Yeah.
Let's say if you go to the user screens, you may be seeing only the legal entity, like just the code. but you are configuring the legal entity related a technical aspect. Let's say in FICO you are creating a company code.
Yeah.
There are a ton of different things like a chart of accounts and
Yep.
all those.
Yes.
So customer really doesn't care. On the user screen, you may not be seeing all those values, but this is like a inside, like a related to the original objects. You're trying to modify the like screen changes and all those things, right?
Yes, correct, Ray.
Okay. But not necessarily if you, when you're hiring a new employee, you may not be seeing all these values.
No, it's not at all required, right? But you are just telling that which company he belongs to. You are going to select the company name, but inside, behind the scenes, your company should be built up, right? Your company is nothing but a couple of fields data. So in order to create a company, you should have screen, and that screen is going to be built using these things. That is the reason I told you, right? You are creating a company, front end you are seeing company, but the company is nothing but couple of fields data. So where you are going to place this data is inside the structures, and how these structures are provided is like they are provided by your objects.
Yeah, I got it. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, correct. Your understanding is 100% correct.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Raghu, what was that question that you said, that visibility of the custom fields? Is that the question?
Yes, your question with respect to what is the visibility, the default visibility of your custom fields in the data models. The default visibility of your custom fields in the data model is none.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. And I just loaded this thing.
So, do you want so we need to remember all these data models, what it comes from, like standard for the certification point of view?
I'm not able to follow your question. Sorry, can you repeat that?
We need to we have to remember all these data models, all those fields. Which
No, not fields, guys. You don't need to remember the fields names. You just remember any field, it has some technical attributes, right? What are the possible technical attributes? What are their possible values? And what are the different important objects? Like your legal entity is one of the important, your business unit is one of the important object, your division, department, your pay grade, and when you talk about your employment objects, right? What are the different things that are important? So those things you have to remember, guys. It's not like each and every field you are not supposed to remember. It's not at all required, guys. Does it answer your question?
Okay, yeah.
Sure. What I'm going to do is, with respect to these things, I am not going to work on all these things, guys. So I showed you, right, how to work, how to start, how to read this configuration workbook, how to start your configuration. I recommend you to go ahead and work on each of these entity or the object. And once you finish working, updating your data model, send that to me, guys. I'll load into the system and you can verify your changes on the instance. Okay. And let me show you these things. You can see so far the things that we worked on is nothing related to country specific. They are across the board, irrespective of the country or location, you are doing these changes. So an employee in US will see the same screen, an employee in India will see the same screen, and the same is going to be for the any other employee. So I'll show you another requirement where you will be able to see the country specific things. And then after that, I'll move on to something called as associations, which is nothing but your relationships. So quickly verify these things. Manage organization. If you go to your legal entity, sorry guys, your wheel. What is that we changed, guys? The custom string, no. So we changed the division, right? It's not legal entity. You see here the division. The custom 01 is changed to aggregate function. So we have to go to the division, guys. Division changed to spoke. You can see here, spoke is available here. Click on spoke, and now you can see aggregate function. So this is how you are going to build your custom fields, guys. So I just want to show you the different flavors of your configuration, adding couple of custom fields, changing the existing fields attribute, removing the existing fields, and making some fields as mandatory. So those kind of things I want to show you guys. The object name changes. I want to address all those things across this spectrum so that any requirement is going to fall in this category, but they might be spanning across different objects. But the way how you configure that is going to be the same way, guys. Okay, and let me go to another thing which is dependent on country, so that give me a second, guys. Let me find out things specific to the country. No. Forget about associations at this moment, guys. I'll talk about your associations probably in the next session, but let me open the other data model. Give me a second, guys.
Raghu, is there a document which can give like an outline of which objects are in which data models so that we have easier way of referencing them?
There is no right away document which specifies or gives
Like
you that information, motion.
Like a shortcut index, because
No. You don't have straight away such kind of table or something, but it's all like scattered across the documentation. You have to read the complete documentation, then you will be able to understand that motion.
Okay.
Where is the country specific things? Okay, yeah, I got it here. Okay, if you go to your location, you can see here the location object. Forget about these requirements, guys, which are not country specific. And you see here, if you scroll down little bit down, you see there are something specific to USA. USA, they are not asking any changes here. Nothing has been highlighted in header, but you can see here for France. So when you're capturing the location and for the country France, you see here, this is what their specific requirement. Let me see what is there in the standard configuration and what are the changes that they are asking. We will correlate those things and we'll do the required configuration changes, guys. Let me go to the location. You can see here location, select the location object, and right now if you go to location and country is France. And you see the moment you are trying to create a location for countries France, you see address line 1, address line 2, extra address line, city, department, postal code. These are the things that you are seeing on the screen. By standard, you are able to see all those things. Let me close this. Excuse me, guys, sorry. You see here, if you correlate this side by side, address 1, address 2, address 3, postal code, all these things are there. Out of these things, you see here, address line 1 is not mandatory on the standard screen. You see here? And yes, my customer wants to go with that. And you see, they don't want to go with the address to line. You see here? This is the one, 40 line. They don't want to see the address to on the screen at all. Okay? They want to remove that particular field, visibility to none. And the same is the case with address line 3. And your zip code, the postal code, yes, they want to go with that. Yes, that is the reason they kept it here. And city, yes, they want to go with that. And county, sorry guys, county, No, they don't want to go with the county, but you can see on the standard success factor providers thing, the county is visible. Oh, sorry. And your province, it's not there, guys. Province is not there. Your department, no, they don't want to go with the department as well. So this is the requirement, and this is the standard screen that I am seeing here.
But Raghu, there it is written postcode and it is written here postal code.
Yeah, might be like this configuration workbook has been done a couple of quarters back, guys. Might be during that time it might be like a postcode, and recently they might have changed it to postal code. I'm not pretty sure about that, but that might be the change. The latest data models is the standard thing, right? We haven't done any changes to the data models.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Raghu, you are dealing with business address and not location address.
Pardon?
You are dealing on business address and
No,
not
no.
location.
Location
address.
is your object. What do you call? See, Victor, location is your object. That is what we are working on, and where you are going to populate this address of the location is. This is where you are going to populate. And these things, I'll tell you where this will come, right? The business address, I'll tell you where it comes. But the location, when you are trying to create a location, and this is the place, these are different fields that has been thrown here, and my customer says that this is my requirement. I have a couple of deletions. I don't want to see all those fields. Only when France is selected, guys. It should not affect any other country changes. Remember, guys, this requirement is specific to France. You see here, this requirement is specific to France. Let's say if I select you see here, Australia, I don't want to impact these things, or United States, I don't want to impact the changes on the screen of United States. Okay, I have to impact only the France location address capturing information, guys. That is my requirement. So the moment you talk about any changes pertaining to specific country, you have to look back at your country specific data models, guys. And yes, you are going to look at the country specific data models, but which object that we are trying to change here is location. Your location is one of the object in your corporate data model. Agreed? So you have to go to your corporate data model and go to your location of your corporate data model, but yes, you are talking about country specific. That is the reason you can see here you have to go to your country specific corporate data model. Let me show you how this country specific corporate data model looks like, then we'll go ahead and do this configuration, guys. It's pretty simple, guys. You see here there is a filter for each country here. That's it. Apart from that, your structure doesn't change, guys. You see here the first filter is country USA. So the thing that you see under this filter country USA is specific to country called as USA. And after that you can see here your HRIS element legal entity and your HRIS field inside that, and that's the same pattern is going to repeat here, guys. Okay, and you have to find out the only requirement is like, yes, we are doing changes for France. You have to identify where is the section in this country specific corporate data model for the country France. That is our task. So if you search for, let me search for F. This is a little bit tricky, guys. And
The space and FRAN.
what it is, Rashmi?
Yeah, you start with one space and then FRAN space. First you put space.
Yeah, I did that. See?
FRAN. Oh.
Yeah. No, it's not as simple as that. Okay, let me show you here. If you go to the left hand side, right, you can see the first thing is the top level entity here is the country specific is your country, right? So you see the moment I clicked here, the first one USA is coming up, and next one it is AZE. I don't know guys what it is. AZE, BLR, BRA, CAN, and after that it follows the alphabetical order, guys. E, FIN, FRA, France. You can see here. So you are in France country. So these things, the below things, you see here, Even if you look at the left hand side, you are in France, and these are the three elements, HRIS elements, entity legal, entity local. But my requirement is like I have to go to not corporate address. I want to go to 1 second. Yes, I want to capture the address details, and that is the reason you are going to the address. And right now you can see here address line 1 is visible to the people, and yes, it is editable on the screen also. But I want to go to the address line 2 HRIS field. Here you can see here address line 2. I don't want to make it as visible to the people, so I am going here and I am making these to none. Okay, I'm not going to show that on the screen.
And these are not custom thing.
Pardon?
These are not custom thing.
These are not custom things. These are standard ones, right?
Okay. So how you know the difference between standard and custom?
See, if you talk about custom field, right, you see the custom tag here.
And what is that?
1 second. You see here? This is
Oh,
the
it will say custom string.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And 1 second, guys. I'm not sure in which country I am. I'm in USA. Okay. This is France. So inside the France, go to your address, and here address line 2 set to none, address line 3 also set to none, extra address line none, and they want to go with zip code as postcode. City, they want to go with city, and department they don't want to go, guys. If you see here, department they don't want to go with the department. Set the visibility to none, and postal code they want to call this a postcode. Okay, they want to go with that. County, yes, they want to go with county. No, they don't want to go with county, guys. You can see here county, they don't want to go with county. Let me set the attribute to visibility to none. And the municipal INSC, I'm not sure, guys, might be that is a province. They don't want to go with that, and they don't want to go with the department as well, guys. Municipality name, let's forget about that. Okay, yeah, department we already changed it, guys. You can see here this is the changes, and we did under the country specific to France. Save this corporate data model, the country specific corporate data model, and that is the place where your country specific requirements are going to be addressed, guys. Guys, if you just hold a minute, I'll plug in my charger. 1 second, guys. Yeah, so I saved that particular thing, guys, and I'm going to load that into the SuccessFactors provisioning system. And yes, I am loading this country specific corporate data model, guys. So you have to look at the other data model, guys. It is not your corporate data model. You can see this is not the one that we are loading. We are loading country specific corporate data model. Click on the import export country specific XML for corporate data model. Select this one, and you can see country specific B1502 country specific corporate data model. Select this one, guys, and click on submit. Okay.
Raghu, what will happen if we by mistake it uploaded it in another string, another
No, it
string?
won't load. It will throw you an error.
Okay.
Yeah, it will throw an error. Definitely, it will throw an error.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Raghu,
trying
what
to ask what to revert.
what is the ACME requested change in the configuration workbook?
Pardon?
What is the ACME requested change in the configuration workbook? If you scroll a little right,
ACME requested. ACME is the organization name, guys. You see here, ACME is the organization name. The customer, I can say. ACME is like, say, if you are working for some company called as like, say, Tata Steel. You will say that Tata Steel Corporation or Tata Steel INC or whatever it may be, right? That is what they are. Their company name, the client company name. Yeah.
do we require to change
We have made the
something there
changes.
for trends?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hello?
Yeah, Raghu, we have made the changes for which fields are available in data model. But what about if the data model doesn't have that field and customer asks to create that field in SuccessFactors?
That is the reason we have the custom fields, right?
So we need to just complete that data
No,
model
no, no, no,
section
no,
and then paste it.
No. See, your custom fields are the ones which are provided to you to go ahead and use in the fashion that you are interested. You don't need to copy them. Change their labels, change their properties, and use those things as your requirement. That is what we did, right? If you remember, yeah.
Yes, and what about sequencing then? Because if we are entering a custom field in between, two fields or something like that, then how
Yes,
do we
in that case, you have to copy that HRIS field, remove from this place, and place wherever you are interested.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Let me quickly verify these country specific changes, guys, so that we can complete at least one of those. What is SFR? Okay. And if you go to admin tools, now if you go to the manage organization pay and job structures, and if you try to create a division, which is nothing but spoke now, and no, not division, guys. One second. Location is the one, right? We are working on with respect to the country specific changes. Go to the location, guys. And now you can see here, let's say if you're interested in, let me verify for United States, guys. We should not disturb the existing configuration of United States. You can see United States has already the same. It is what it was before we change the data model, the country specific data model. And if you go to Australia, it will be the same thing, guys. It will remain the same as original. You can see here, this is what it was. And if you go to France now, you see here, the address has been changed. This is what now you mentioned, address line 1, city, postal code, and the postcode and the municipality name. Only these things we have activated those things, and we removed the rest of all those things as per our client requirement.
Sure. Raghu, there's one question. Can you change the layout of the screen?
Layout, in what sense layout means?
I don't want city to become, I want city to become after state, or I want to come.
Yeah, the position of these fields, right? That is what you mean. Yeah. You have to switch that particular field from that particular position. Let's see, right now you can see here, your address line is coming here, the first thing in your data model. Let me show you that.
Mm-hmm.
You can see here, let's say if you talk about this field, So any field below this thing, right, they will come under below the particular field only. So if you want this field to be shown above this field on the screen, right, you have to select the complete field. You can see here, select this field entirely, start from the HRIS field tag and till the end of this HRIS field tag. Cut that and go here and paste here. That's it. The complete section, right, the HRIS field section, you have to move to the top or to the position that you are interested, guys.
Okay. But is there
any changes needs to be done in the XML file?
No. It's not all the changes you are going to do in XML. I'm going to tell you about the business configuration UI, right? We'll see like what are the things that you can go ahead and configure in your business configuration UI. It's not all the things you have to do in your data model. It's not required. Just to answer your question, guys. Once upon a time.
And one more about layout.
Segregate, which all changes will go through XML data model and which,
yep.
Which
you'll learn that. You will learn that. You will see the business configuration UI, and I'll tell you the limitations of that. And those limitations, yes, you will not be able to do those things in using the business configuration UI in your instance. And those things, yes, you have to work on the data model, guys.
Okay, one more question about layout. Now, you can see all the fields, they are the position one below other. Like the customer wants city and state on the one same row or something.
Okay.
And it's the layout that way. Now you change the position. Same thing, I want postal code and city in the same line.
No. That is not possible with respect to your objects. You have to build something called as views. And yes, on the views, you can place the fields. It's just a drag and drop, guys. You can place the fields in whatever fashion you want. Let me show you. I'm not going to explain you those things because it is going to come at a later point of time. But
okay.
Yeah. Yes, you will be able to do that. What it is? Configure. There should be an option, guys. One second. Metadata framework. No, not this one, guys. I'll show you guys where you can do that, right? It is part of your building views, and using that, right, you can place the fields at the required position, like 2 columns. You can place the fields under 2 columns. Yes, you can go. It's just a drag and drop. You don't need to look back at your XML files also. I'll show you guys. Sorry about that. I didn't remember what is that admin option, guys. There is an admin option to do that.
Raghu, what are you showing? I mean, it's not clear what other person is asking.
No. Forget about that. We are going to discuss about that at a later point of time. Yeah, forget about that. It's part of your what do you call metadata framework to build your screens. That is what he's asking about, guys. I'm just trying to find. Okay, manage configuration UI. Yeah, this is what it is. Someone is asking, right? You see here, you can drag and drop the fields to whatever the position that you are interested. Let's say if you want to add one more field, you can go ahead and group those fields. And if you want to add additional fields in required fashion, let's say 1 second. Yeah, you pretty much you will be able to do that, guys. Someone asked that question, right? You can do that using this business configuration UI tool, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Madan.
Yeah, Madan.
So, sorry, can I ask one thing? Raghu?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you did in the legal entity, you did, remove the default pay group, right? So, as you just mentioned, is it we can allow the managers and the super user to see the default group only?
Yeah. No. These things. Yeah. I got your question. So the default pay group should be only visible to the managers, but not to the employees. Is that your question, right?
That's correct.
Role-based permission?
Yes, that's the answer. Yes, you have to keep that field in the data model. You are not supposed to remove that from the data model. Don't set the visibility to none. Keep it both. But yes, you can go ahead and do that particular changes. Let's say any particular field, go to your permission roles, and whatever the role they belongs to. Let's say if you're talking about employees, right, or managers. Let's go to any of these manager access, and you have to go to that particular object. Let's say permissions, and let's say employee data. Let's say these managers can edit and view their data. Let me take any simple example. Let's say their citizenship. You can see this is the field that we are interested. Yes, managers, the people who belongs to this particular role, yes, they can view and edit it. But in another role which you are going to assign to the employees, you just don't give the edit access, or you don't want to show them at all. You can just go ahead and remove the view access also. That's it. That is how you are going to address that, guys.
Okay. So because in the configuration book, doesn't so we need to make a separate as well for the RPS configuration?
Yeah. RBP, yes. RBP is totally different. So these things, the object, right?
It's totally different.
Yeah.
But when you configuration workbook for all the legal entity unit division department, and the customer the user requirement is different, isn't it? This is the customer requirement, the user requirement as well.
Yeah.
So we need to merge both of them.
Yeah. See, these things, whatever you are going to configure using your data model, they are across the system, guys. Yes, you are providing a field. Forget about your RBP. Yes, that field is available in your instance. The next question comes up. Which employees are supposed to view that particular field? I mean to say read only. Which group of employees can edit that particular field? And which group of employees are not supposed to see that particular field at all? That question comes after once you configure the data model, or once you capture the requirements with respect to your data models.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there for that as well you have this configuration book?
I used to have one. Let me check that, guys. I don't have it readily available, but we used to have a spreadsheet to address that with all the different objects and the fields and the different groups of that particular customer. Let me look into it. If there are something, right, I'll remove those things and I'll share with you guys.
That will be appreciated, sir.
Hey, sure, definitely. I'll do that, guys. No worries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Raghu, a quick question.
Yeah, Ray.
Do we have the end date concept? Like, let's say, like a location or a company code. I see a start date there.
Yeah.
Let's say a company is close, like having 10 locations. They'll close one location. So then you want to basically end that location. So any end date we can put there, or just only always start date?
No. You have the end date concept also. Let me show you. Let me go to the data model. You might not have exposed that outside, but yes, just to answer your question, right? It is there, Ray. These objects, right, the different objects that we are seeing, right? They carry something called as end date. Yeah, you can see here. We have this. It's inside the. Let me show you inside. It's with respect to all the entities, right? Yes, it is available to you, but just to example, right? Yes, your legal entity. This is one. Your legal entity, your company. You see here, it is there, but right default you can see it is set to none. If you want to use it, right, set to both. If you want to edit it, yes, go ahead and load this data model into the system. Yes, you will be able to see this field array.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, no worries.
So usually like the biggest drawback is for personal areas, they retire a lot of them.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
There is no date control in SAP, so that's the biggest drawback.
Yeah. Here we have that flexibility, Ray.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Okay guys, I'm just going to stop it here. I don't want to push things on you in a single day. I know like how to slowly transition you into SuccessFactors. What I recommend to you guys especially is go ahead and start working on these data, at least your foundation objects, guys. You have the data models with you, you have these configuration workbooks with you. Go ahead and do whatever things that you want to play around the XML data model and send that to me, guys. And yes, I load the first person who is going to send to me as the first thing, and once he or she verifies his changes in the instance, then I will load the other person, the second person who is going to send to me, and I'll update you to verify your changes, guys. I'll try to synchronize that, but as a thing from your side, go ahead and start as an exercise, go ahead and start configuring your data models as per these requirements or as per these configuration workbooks, guys.
So, Raghu, are we just to do the data model and send you the data models?
Yes, configure the data models XML files and send the XML file to me in the email.
Oh, okay. Then you can upload it via your provision.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
One more question, Raghu.
Yeah.
Configuration workbook. Who provides that? Is it come with the?
No, the consultant has to prepare that, guys.
Okay, then just like data model has you downloaded from the instance, right? So that's the configuration workbook. Consultant has to.
Yeah, we are going to prepare that.
Okay, I thought the SAP got template and then.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Raghu, you have to create user ID and password.
Yeah, I'll do that, guys. For a couple of people, I already created that, and a couple of them I'm in the process of creating. Just I'll do that, guys. Just give me like probably like anyhow tomorrow is Saturday, right? I'll be available completely by tomorrow morning. I'll send all of your credentials, guys.
Because without that we won't be able to.
Yeah, exactly. I know. Yeah. I'll make sure that you will receive the credentials by tomorrow morning. And yeah, it is available with you guys. You don't have any problem. You have the complete admin access. You can go ahead and play around the system. And how about session on Sunday night, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
Sorry, Raghu, can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
What time?
Same time, guys. Probably like we'll keep at 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
By 7 o'clock.
7?
7, yeah.
7 EST?
PST 7?
7 PM EST, AM EST.
EST 7 will be 5 o'clock, right, Raghu, in India?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 5, yes.
11 o'clock.
Raghu, make it 8.
Make it 8 will be fine.
Okay, yeah, the same time, guys, as usual. We'll
No,
meet
7 will be fine, man. Let me have some credit today, man.
Okay. I got it. Otherwise, we'll keep it up like Sunday morning, Sunday morning, guys.
Oh,
No, Sunday morning. Raghu, at least
evening is okay. Raghu, evening is okay.
Okay.
Sunday evening, yeah. 5 PM PST.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 PM. That's my words. Your 5 PM is what?
Yeah, 5 PM PST.
PST, Victor.
In the United Kingdom, what's it?
No, Victor, you didn't listen that properly. It's PST they are asking. It's not EST.
I don't understand the time zone in India.
It's not India. Yeah. Yeah, no worries, guys. We'll.
Raghu, you shoot an email.
I'll shoot an email. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'll do that.
Okay.
Raghu, sorry.
Hey, yeah.
I had a question. You send the material for EC material part 1 and part 2. So the module in there, when I see the video, there is no exercise in that.
No. I'm going to send all those details, guys. As I told you, right? Just allow me, like, anyhow, tomorrow is Saturday, right? Saturday and Sunday, I'll make sure that I'll share all the material and your access and your privileges, whatever it may be. I'll share all those things with you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Raghu,
Yeah, Victor.
are we dealing on only location, or we just do on